Right, time for my well done, Joey. Time for my first crack, and is it the writing on the wall for Christian Petracca at Melbourne? Now, this is very interesting, I think, because a month ago, Christian Petracca, the superstar on baller, was having 27 centre bounce attendances in the Melbourne midfield. But clearly, we are seeing a new way under Simon Goodwin, and over the past month, those numbers have really reduced. So let's have a look. A month ago, so 26-23, and in the guts all the time, 27 versus North Melbourne. Watch this decline. 20 against Carlton, 12 against St Kilda, and just 7 against West Coasters at the weekend. As Simon Goodwin handed the keys to Cozzy Pickett, it was absorbed a lot of his midfield minutes, Petracca, and also a young Caleb Windsor. And your man, Harvey Langford, is set to take up a big role in there next season. So this was it at the weekend. Gone, Windsor 24, they are the keys. Pickett, who's been a superstar. Oliver, in terms of takers for him next season, it doesn't feel like there's a market for him at the moment. And Viney's a demon for life. So Petracca is the one who's been frozen out. So hasn't he got a big decision to make over the next couple of weeks before the end of the season? Can he accept that he could be more of a permanent forward at Melbourne as the new era settles in, like Toby Green, and play forward? Or does he, at 29 years of age, still think he can be that superstar on baller? Because if he does, maybe that's got to be at another club. We talked a lot about Collingwood and Carlton last year. Is the best fit for him Hawthorn? Because if there is a knock on the Hawthorn side at the moment, they've got all the key forwards, but we see Will Day go down with that foot injury, which is an absolute disaster. Newcomb's had a so-so year. What is it that they need, Joey and Kingy, to complement, to round out this side, to make Hawthorn not a bad team to a genuine premiership contender?
Yeah,
is it the powerful midfielder?
They need another star midfielder, absolutely, particularly now with Will Day as well. But, I would love to see Petracca stay at Melbourne. I think he can be a very, very good forward. I would love to see him play a full season inside 50. Predominantly, he can still go and pinch hit in the midfield when required. I think that would be a good fit for Melbourne as they transition. But, as you said, it's probably up to him whether he's prepared to play that role.
I think they've got to step on the gas with the rebuild. And sometimes the best result for Melbourne is saying you've been great for us, and we're going to make a decision that's good for both of us.
Which is what they avoided last year.
Yeah, I think that there's sometimes a time to say, hey, we're amicable, but we have to part company. You have to go get us some high-end picks in and let us be aggressive going forward and try and give what's left here an opportunity to win one while we're old.
And Melbourne have been transitioning. They have been transitioning. They're not just their list personnel, but also their game style. And I know he's come under criticism, Simon Goodwin, and it's been a work in progress. But I think the last couple of weeks, we are starting to see them play more of the modern game that we want to see. This run out of the back half and transition from one end of the field to the other. And a lot of it to do is with the off-ball runner as well. So on the weekend, they had 12 different goal scorers, which was the most they've ever had under Simon Goodwin. And the last 2 weeks, so against St Kilda, they were able to score 22 points from D50, their second best result of the year. This game, 31 points from D50. So they are trying to evolve, and yet they're trying to get the leg speed you speak about, Jay, and the young kickers. And, this is Jai Cully this time, the off-ball winger, the new modern wingman that can mark the ball overhead like a Dempsey or Dan Curtin style of play. So you can see them. They're creating a bit more of a paddock. So Simon Goodwin, I can see, is been working hard on trying to evolve the way Melbourne want to play, getting some more youngsters involved. So there are some positive signs. I know it was against West Coast, but just the way they've been playing has been more impressive. You mentioned the draft picks, King. Also, what have Hawthorn got lots of? That's key forwards. Do they persist with a four-pronged structure this week against Collingwood? Not sure. So do Melbourne set their sights on a Mitch Lewis or a big key forward? Potentially. Do you think Melbourne are open to moving on Petracca?
I think they'd love to keep him. But have you heard Christian Petracca do an interview all season? He's been silent all year because maybe he doesn't want to commit to a position. But how would you know what's going to happen at Melbourne? The swirling uncertainty. Who's running the football club at the moment? Probably 5 different people. So it's a big 3 weeks, and I'm not sure they know what to do. Kingy, it is time for your first.
Well, mine's a bit of a deeper discussion. I look at the Western Bulldogs and I know they can't win it. I just know they can't win it.
You put a line for them?
Oh, absolutely. Because you can't compete with the best when you've got a significant issue behind the ball. So, for me, this list is set up for half-court basketball. They've got an unbelievable midfield. We'll go through some numbers. And they're going to be okay for 3, 4, 5 years. So now's the time. It's a one-man fix behind the ball, but really it's a one-man fix at this footy club. Sam Power now has to step up and get aggressive and get a key defender, a key interceptor or a playmaker off half-back that gives Luke Beveridge the chance to have all 3 components sorted, because right now his hands are tied. Look at the numbers. The numbers speak for themselves. So they got the best forward line, the best attack in the competition, averaging 118 points. Ford 50, number one in the comp for the last half a dozen weeks. Darcy's 22, Norton's 25, West's 25. They're going to be there for a long period of time.
Yeah.
Waitman's not even there at the moment. At clearance, we talk about this midfield group and what they're doing. They've been unbelievable. They don't win hit-outs. They don't necessarily win first possessions, but everything they touch becomes to inside to outside, and away they go. Richards is 26, Fraser's 19, English is 27, Sanders is 20. Bond's going to be there for another 4 or 5 years. He can do it on crutches, I reckon. Libber and Treloar are the only concerns, 33 and 32. So they're stacked in the midfield. But behind the ball, they're awful. They're not competitive in any way, shape or form. Lobb was a byproduct of had to do something with him. Wasn't working up forward, so he goes behind the ball. If you look at the defensive one-on-ones, and I like starting here, or you go against the best sides, denying scores per entry, they're bottom 6. You can't compete in a final series with that.
It's a clear weakness.
An obvious weakness they've had for years. They've really picked 1 or 2 players in the draft for the best part of 5 to 6 years for this area. And it's been disrespectful and built a list that plays half-court basketball. So when you look at the defensive stuff one-on-one, and this is what happens in finals, you get stuck on a man. They get outmarked second most in the competition, and they're in the air and on the ground, the follow-up work, they're bottom 6 again. So I say, you can't win it this year. You just can't. And you can critique Luke Beveridge as much as you like, and you can talk about the midfield and the forwards as much as you like. They got their hands tied behind their back when they play the big boys.
So is Bevo one chess piece away?
I reckon
being
he is.
Contended to win it next year?
I think they've got to get aggressive. So this is what I want to throw at you guys. They've got a whole host of picks in the next 3 years, untouched. Okay, they've got a father-son coming in, Will Darcy, in the next 18 months. So I'm saying, get aggressive. Get yourself. Who would you go and get? Could you go and get a Jack Buckley? Could you prize Lever or a Wilkie or a Wiedering or a Payne? I'm talking about giving up 2 first-round picks, because right now they've won 2 flags in 100 years. This is the time to be aggressive. You can't sit back and hope someone's drafted and develops nicely and slowly. The time is now.
And maybe it's a good time for options too, because you look at Jordan Ridley and his frustrations with his soft issues at the Bombers. And what about Nick Voston? So he's probably not going to win another premiership at the Tigers, yet we're talking about him as an All-Australian.
Yeah.
They're 2 that you would potentially pass on that first-round pick to get him in to finish off this list.
Jordan Butts, the Adelaide Crows, he's been pushed out of that team. Go and find someone that's unhappy or not getting opportunity, or just throw big dollars at one. They've disrespected this position, and it's hurting them large. And I feel for the coach, because you come up against the big boys and they're going to have their time with the ball. And they just bleed and leak so heavily. So Sam Power, either get fair income or get out of there. It's a full club thing winning a flag. They've got to get aggressive.
And are you talking about a big banana or an interceptor?
No, don't muck around with the small stuff. I don't want to hear any C graders or any D graders. They've got to get marquee. Like Jeremy McGovern 3 years ago would have been perfect for the Dogs.
Yep.
That's what they had to do. They have to do something like that to shake the tree.
The only question is they are in the race for Zach Butters from Port Adelaide in a year, so are they saving their pennies and their chips?
If you said to me you got a choice between Lever or Wilkie or May, not so much. May's a bit older and there's some other issues with May, I think. I just think you're better off getting it. If you get a Wiedering, I prefer Wiedering over Butters. Yep. This team needs a pillar behind the ball.
Well, very good, Kingy. I like that. I think Luke Beveridge will be watching this, nodding in agreement.
He doesn't watch our shows. He doesn't like our reviews too much.
I imagine he's nodding in agreement there with you.